Sound to your mind.
Breathe. I stay quiet as I light on my loud light. Breathe. I balance diet, I'm just trying to get my pounds right. Breathe. I stay quiet as I light on my loud light. Breathe. I balance diet, I'm just trying to get my pounds right. Shouts all on my team, I need more than a mattress support in my dreams. Could grab a few Zeds like I'm falling asleep, but I don't wanna wake for the morning. Grief, breathe. Tears drop to the form in the sea. A broke heart, but it's worn in my sleeve. Never listened, I was warned in my teens, but I still skipped school, I was taught in the streets. Ring back, don't call for police. Stand tall, don't fall for the beast. Got issues with trust, so I'm born to believe. We've been a victim of love and now we're caught in it deep. Breathe.
Yes, people, what's happening? What's happening? And welcome back to Gav Goes In. So, guys, yeah, listen, a little bit of a different one today. We're going to do a tier list. You know, this is bound to be interesting. You know, there's a few players that, you know, you guys might already know that who I might be putting in certain tiers, or you might not know, you know. And, yeah, it's going to be one that I am going to be interested in doing. And yeah, make sure you guys give me your comments in here as well. Make sure you guys are subbing to the channel if you're new, and make sure you guys are smashing the likes as well to help the channel get more traction as well. So yeah, much appreciated, much appreciated. Big up to my guy Fitz each and every time. Big up yourself. And as I said, big up to everyone that come through on the stream yesterday as well. So if you didn't see the stream yesterday, you know, there was two. There was one on Kobe Mainu, you know, Kobe Mainu's comparison with the likes of Steven Gerrard and Paul Scholes at the ages of 18, 19 and 20. You know, so if you guys haven't seen that, they are in chapters, and some of the things in it that might actually surprise you. Because as I said yesterday, you know, the amount of criticism that Kobe Mainu's getting at the moment is really unjust, but obviously we all know why that is. And as I said, man, yeah, make sure you give that a check and let me know what you think as well. And then obviously the one yesterday was the underrated 11 versus the PR 11. You know, I've been getting quite a bit of feedback on that. Like, people enjoyed that one. And again, it's always good to see, you know, people's opinions, you know, and their comments as well, to see how you guys see certain things, you know. And, you know, I'm someone that's not going to lie. You know, I'm always going to say give my opinion, whether you like it or not. And as I said, I'm well versed in football, so I enjoy these little conversations. And again, even if you don't agree with me, it is what it is, you know. But yeah, as I said, that was the two streams yesterday. And yeah, make sure you guys go over and give that a check as well. But anyway, we're gonna go on to the tier list. Yeah, so we're gonna go through. Obviously, I did have the teams wrote down already. So again, we're going to go all the major European teams around. So we've got obviously the Premier League teams: Manchester United, Manchester City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, Bayern Munich, PSG, Barcelona, Real Madrid, and Atletico Madrid. Yeah, so I'm going to share the screen in a minute. There might be some players that might not be in this list. So obviously the tier list is, there's one that I've got up now, which there's certain players there already. So again, we're just going to go through what players deserve to be in what section. And again, let me know in the comments as well if you agree or even if you disagree. So spare me 1 minute. I'm going to share the screen. And as Fitz says, the underrated 11 beats the PI 11 hands down. Listen, it's not even a contest for me, man. Not even a contest. But Can you guys all see my screen? Yeah, just give me a thumbs up if you guys can see my screen. Just give me a thumbs up, guys, if you can see the screen. So what we'll do, we'll work from the very first player, and then we're gonna put them in, obviously, the tiers list. Cool. Okay, so first player, obviously, we've got Vitinha. So obviously, guys, with the tier list, we've got world class. I've put in top class. So top class is just the tier just below, obviously, the world class. So players that are not quite world class yet, but they have the potential to be that. You've got good, decent, and then obviously you've got poor. So first player we're going to discuss is Vitinha. Now, Vitinha for me, top class player. I think this is a player that was formerly at Wolves, if anyone's forgotten. And he's also a player for me that I look at him as he's the modern day midfielder for me in terms of, diminutive in size, but just quality on the ball. He can do everything as a midfielder, really. Very good in possession, keeps the ball, obviously he's got great dribbling, great passing, just an all-round top player, man. And obviously Portuguese international as well. And for me, someone that I enjoy watching as a player, man. I think he's that good, and as I said, I think he's someone for me that just gets better and better, man. No doubt. And I think just like many others, I think this is an easy one. I don't think anyone would probably disagree on this one with Vitinha. Top of the tier, near a world class, maybe a season or two away. Yeah, I think potential, or maybe they need to do it for an extra season, I would say. That's how I'm rating top class. But yeah, I think Vitinha, I don't think there's any surprise where he's going to go. As I said previously, he's one of the best midfielders in the world for me, with Pedri, with Moises Caicedo. If I'm looking at the top three midfielders, it's them three by a long way. So for me, Vitinha is going to go into world class. And again, that's an easy decision for me. Not even a problem. Next player, guys, is Ousmane Dembele. Ousmane Dembele for me. Did I ever see Ousmane Dembele playing as a false nine? I never thought I'd see that happening, really, because obviously, as we know, watching him from Rennes to Borussia Dortmund, to Barcelona, always played out wide. A guy that suffered with a lot of injuries as well. It's funny, isn't it, how he suffered so many injuries at Barcelona, and at PSG. I know he's had a couple of injuries, but nothing near to what was happening at PSG now. And I think a guy that's won the Ballon d'Or, and rightfully so. Do I think he's the best player in the world right now? I don't. I think that tag obviously goes to a certain player that we are going to discuss. And but I do think, in terms of PSG, what they won last season, the fact that Dembele was instrumental in that, and he had the numbers to back it up as well. I think it's an easy one, just like Vitinha, in terms of what tier these kind of players go into. And again, I don't think no one else is going to really, I don't think no one's really going to be surprised as to where Dembele is going to end up. And for me, Dembele, again, will be due a big World Cup with France as well. And I think France are one of the favourites for the World Cup this year, no doubt. And for me, he goes into world class as well. I don't think there's any issue putting him in the world class bracket, him and Vitinha. And I think if you're looking at the very best, those two are definitely, for me, up there as well. Let me know in the comments, guys, what you think of so far, Vitinha and Dembele. Or do you think they should be in a different tier? Moving on, Achraf Hakimi. And for me, Hakimi, along with Reece James, I've said this previously, those two there for me are the two best right backs in the game right now. I think him and Reece James offer different things. Reece James has the quality on the ball. Reece James can pass. He can He can strike the ball as well. You know, he's very strong as well and has decent pace as well. And obviously can play in midfield. And Hakimi is just a pure right back, right wing back, you know, up and down, energy to burn. And again, Hakimi's got good leadership as well. You know, this is a player, Hakimi, that used to be at Real Madrid. You know, and I think Real Madrid, we're looking at it right now as to how they've let him go. Because he did play, you know, first team games for Real Madrid before I believe he went to Borussia Dortmund on loan. And obviously PSG then bought him from there. But yeah, definitely for me, amongst the top two right backs in the game with Reece James right now. And again, just like Vitinha, just like Dembele, these guys have genuine world-class ability, you know. And yeah, and as Fitz has said, you know, I think world-class should only really have a handful of players in there. To see two so early is a testament to PSG's quality. No doubt, Fitz. And I think this is where, you know, you can really see where the quality comes from, you know, because for me, I think the majority of the quality comes from outside. Well, I'm not going to, the majority of the quality comes from outside the Premier League. Yeah, it comes from outside the Premier League, man. So, as I said, it's not a difficult decision for me with Hakimi, you know, and he is someone for me that goes into, you know, the world-class bracket as well. So I think what you've got here so far, yeah, you've got three players in Vitinha, Dembele, and Hakimi, who are arguably three of the best players in their position. If they're not number one, they're definitely, you would say, you know, two or three. I think Dembele's one's a bit different because Dembele's not a natural striker. He's playing as a false nine. He's a natural wide man, but, you know, he is someone that is high in quality anyway, you know. Big up to Titanium says, Gav, you disappointed me. I was expecting the bucket hat. Yeah, man, it had to come off. It had to come off. Throw that in the bin, man. That was a one-off. But big up yourself for coming on anyway. So yeah, we've got Vitinha, we've got Dembele, and we've got Hakimi in the world-class bracket. Next player is Desiree Doué. Now, for me, Doué, you know, there's a lot of talk about Doué being on Yamal's level, even though I don't think he is. I think Doué is a top player, man. I do think he's a very good player. And he was someone that, you know, before he left Rennes, you know, and Rennes do produce some top talents, man. You think of Camavinga, you know, you think of obviously Dembele, and now obviously Doué, yeah. And Doué was someone that I was hoping Man United would be looking at, but the fact that he went to PSG wasn't really a surprise because when you're French and you leave, you know, you would say an inferior team in that league, your next stop, if you are going to stay in that league, is going to be either PSG or Marseille. And the fact he went to PSG, you know, obviously scored 2 goals in the Champions League final against Inter Milan, you know, was arguably man the match as well in that, played very well. For me, do I think he's at the level of a Yamal right now? I don't think he is. I think he's someone, you know, he does have a bit of hit and miss in his game as well. But I think if he keeps growing with PSG, then there's no reason as to why, you know, he can't be up there as one of the best players in the world. But for me, I'm gonna put him on the potential. I don't think Doué's world class. I think he's on the potential for me, you know. So I'm gonna put him right there in top class. And again, guys, let me know what you think. If you think he should be in there. Next player we're gonna discuss is Nuno Mendes. And again, I think you guys have seen me talk about Nuno Mendes before. You know, Nuno Mendes for me, I believe Nuno Mendes is the best left back in the game. You know, I don't think really and truly, I don't really think there's anyone. I mean, I don't really think there's anyone close to him. You know, there is players that are up and coming. You know, I think Lewis Hall this season has been very good. You know, you've got Balde who's out injured. And again, it goes to show you that the world-class left back is few and far between, because you've got the guy at Eintracht Frankfurt. Keep forgetting his name. I think he's been linked with Barcelona as well. Fitz, I know you. I think you'll know his name, Fitz. I forgot his name. I keep forgetting his name. You know him. He's showing promise as well. But I think when it comes to the outstanding left back, you got Alvaro Fernandez as well. Another guy that's been talked about. Mark Cucurella. But when it comes to the outstanding left back in world football, you know, and Nathaniel Brown, that's the guy. Yeah. When it comes to the outstanding player in world football, I think you can't really look past Nuno Mendes, you know, and again, PSG have got the two best fullback pairings in the game in Hakimi and Nuno Mendes. And again, it's a simple choice for me to put him into, you know, into the world-class bracket. And again, it does show testament as to PSG's work over the last couple of seasons, because there's no doubt that those four, Vitinha, Dembele, Hakimi, and Mendes, are all world-class players. And I think you got Doué that definitely is potential. Moving on to Kavicha Kvaratskhelia. Now, I'm a massive fan of Kvaratskhelia. For me, Kvaratskhelia is someone I actually think he's underrated. You know, I think when we look at wingers in the game right now, a lot of the wingers that are rated have, you know, just ridiculous pace, you would say. And I think he's someone that has decent pace, but he's just a pure footballer, Kvaratskhelia. Obviously, formerly of Napoli as well. You know, if you remember the Napoli team with him and Victor Osimhen causing problems, winning them the Scudetto as well. And he was instrumental in that, you know. So him going to PSG, I wouldn't say he's gone to another level, but I think he's just been another player that is just an absolute problem for any team, really. You know, and you know, he makes up part of that front three, which is devastating. And the fact that they've got Barcola, they've got Doué as well, who both can play from the left and the right. The same with Kvaratskhelia, the same with Dembele. And what is actually funny, yeah, is that when you get people that say, yeah, and this is why when I was speaking the other day, someone come on the channel saying to me that, you know, a striker's job is to score goals, yeah. Now, when you've got a team like PSG who, you know, are probably still should be rated as the best team in the world in terms of what they've won over the last couple of seasons, yeah. When you've got a fluid front three like them, not one of them players are natural strikers, because they all interchange. And this is why the myth of a striker's job is to score goals in this era, well, it's not that, because if you look at PSG's front three, Dembele is not even a striker. He's a false nine. He's playing as a false nine, yeah. But it's because of the fluidity of that team. It allows them to just be interchangeable, you know, and allows their team to get goals. You know what I mean? And that's a prime example, you know. And again, someone like Kvaratskhelia, who is actually a left winger, has obviously played on the right as well for PSG. So again, Kvaratskhelia, I think people might be a bit torn as to where he's going to go. But for me, there's no doubt Kvaratskhelia is world class. I definitely think he's world class. Which moves it on to Marquinhos. Yeah. Now, Marquinhos for me, you know, probably is obviously PSG's longest serving player, their captain as well. And again, this was a guy that was linked to Barcelona, if anyone remembers, before he left Roma. You know, he was rated highly, Marquinhos. And obviously, when PSG started their project, you know, he was one of the very first signings, you know what I mean? So, again, he's been a stalwart for them. But I think in terms of the level, you know, I don't think he's world class, to be honest with you. I think he's a bit in between. You know, I think he has been consistent for PSG. But I think the system of PSG is probably making him look a lot better, even though I do think he is a good player. But I don't think I don't think he's world class. Again, if anyone thinks Marquinhos is world class, then put that in the chat and let me know what you think. But I'm gonna say, for me, I'm gonna put Marquinhos in the. I'm gonna put him in the top class. I'll put him in top class because I don't really think he's a world class player. I think the world class bracket is for the absolute elite players, and I think Marquinhos is a very, very good player, but I don't think he's world class like the other five. Which moves us on to Fabian Ruiz. Now, Fabian Ruiz for me is an unsung hero for PSG. I think not only for PSG, I think for Spain as well. And I think when it comes to the World Cup, you know, again, I don't think he's actually been playing. I think he's been injured, but he's going to be, if he's fit, a crucial player for Spain, man. Because what I like about Fabian Ruiz is that he's left-footed as well, which adds balance to the midfield. You know, he's got a physical presence, very good on the ball, you know, and he's just another a player in a long list of Spanish players that are just, you know what you're getting from these players. You're going to get quality all day long. And again, he's a goal threat as well. So, and as I Am Titanium says, Fabian is a top player. He is. And for me, I'm going to put Fabian Ruiz in the top class. I wouldn't put him in world class. And again, that isn't to say that he isn't a top player. But as I said, I think the top class and the world class, you know, world class, you just have to be regarded as the best in the world in your position. And top class for me, you know, it's either potential or you have to do it for a couple of more seasons, you know, or, you know, you're just a little bit below the absolute best. And there's nothing wrong with that, because that's why I've done the category top class, because it's a hard list to get into. But as I said, I think Fabian Ruiz is a very good player, and whether he's going to be fit enough for the World Cup remains to be seen. But I think if he's fit, he makes Spain a better team for me. I think he's that good. Big up to Exedra. Big up my guy for coming through. Big up to Craven Cottage as well. Big up yourself. Next player, guys, we're going to move on to is William Pacho. And I think out of all the PSG players, he's probably someone that has the lowest kind of PR, I would say, you know. Definitely think he's someone that has the lowest PR, because I would go along and say that people probably won't even look at it like this year, but William Pacho, big up Foxy Danny. William Pacho is one of the best centre backs in Europe for me. You know, I think he's someone that gets massively overlooked, but I think in terms of consistency, you know, he's been a crucial part of PSG's success as well. And you know, I think if you used to say who's the better defender between him and Marquinhos, I think Marquinhos. I think many people might say Marquinhos, because Marquinhos is probably more well known. But what I would say is that, you know, William Pacho has taken over from Presnel Kimpembe, obviously the left-sided centre back. And to be fair, Kimpembe obviously is French. You know, he come through the system as well. But I would go as far and say Kimpembe and William Pacho has exceeded what Kimpembe was doing, because Kimpembe never won a Champions League. You know, Pacho has, and Pacho for me has taken it on another level. So I definitely think that yeah, he's definitely taking up a notch. Pacho's Colombian, Titanium. Big up to Babs One Diva as well. Yeah, no, Pacho's Colombian. He's Colombian, yeah. So I'm not sure if Colombia are in the World Cup, but yeah, he's a very good defender, left-sided defender as well. And for me, I think what he has, you know, he's physical, he's got good recovery pace, he's good on the ball, he's good in the air, you know, he's competitive, and I think he's someone that does go under the radar. He is someone that does go under the radar. Is Pacho Ecuadorian? I swear he's Colombian. He's Ecuadorian, yeah? I thought he was Colombian. Let me check. Because if they've got him, Hincapié, and Moises Caicedo, then they're doing something right, man. That Ecuador, because Pacho's Ecuadorian. Okay. Yeah, he's Ecuadorian. I thought he was Colombian. So they've got Pacho, Hincapié, and Caicedo. All three players that are playing for three of the biggest teams in Europe, which is mad. That is actually mad. But he's a top player, man, Pacho. And William Pacho, for me, I'm going to put him in the world class. Again, this might surprise people, but for me, he's going into the world class for me. No doubt. No doubt. I think people sleep on it that he's one of the best defenders in the world because he hasn't got a big profile. And if Ecuador are in the World Cup, I expect him to have a strong World Cup, to be fair. Big up to Arsenal and Pakistan cricket team says, I remember he pocketed so many Argentinian players in the qualifiers. He's a very good player, man. He's a very good player, man. I'm telling you, very good player. And I think when people talk about centre backs, the often names that get mentioned are the ones like Gabriel, Saliba, Van Dijk. Who else is there? Just shows you we're struggling for centre backs now, isn't it? Really, Rudiger. Yeah, there ain't really too many world class centre backs in the game, but I actually think he's actually world class. You know what I mean? And he has proven it time and time again. Yeah, listen, Arsenal, Leverkusen today. I think it will be a home win for Leverkusen, a home win or a draw. You know, I think I'll be by myself in that one, but I think Leverkusen are going to shock people tonight. Gab, did you see the Spurs goalkeeper who got subbed off in the 17th minute? Yeah, I see it, man. You could argue that was poor management, throwing your player under the bus, or you could argue that, you know, he made a mistake in the first place. But yeah, it was poor all around, really, because Vicario has been poor. And then if you're gonna put if you're gonna put Kinski in goal, then I mean, if he is gonna make mistakes, then you kind of have to ride with it, because taking him off after 17 minutes, it makes you look stupid, really, as the manager, because it shows everyone that you made the wrong decision. You know, so yeah, it's poor, man, but that's their problem, innit? So yeah, anyway, let's carry on. And guys, keep your questions and comments coming through. And as I said, I will definitely get back to them anyway. Next player we're going to move on to is João Neves. Again, a player that was linked with Manchester United and a player that does suit PSG's midfield in terms of how they play. I actually think he might be. Is he actually injured at the moment, João Neves? I'm not sure if he's injured. Yeah, big up Titanium, man. Big up. So what I would say, yeah, is the midfield of Vitinha, João Neves, and Fabian Ruiz. I know Ruiz is out. I think Ruiz might be out injured because I think Zaire Emery been playing lately. I would say, yeah, that combination, you know, that's the combination that won them the Champions League as well. And I think João Neves offers something a bit different to Vitinha and to Fabian Ruiz, in the sense that, you know, he's a bit more of a bulldog in midfield that has quality, you know, and I think, you know, it works well, the balance of the team. You know, I don't think João Neves is the level of Vitinha, but I think he's a very good foil for Vitinha and for Fabian Ruiz as well. You know, and he definitely does have potential to be a lot better. But again, this might shock some people with João Neves, but I'm actually going to put João Neves into the good. I don't think he's world class. And top class. Do I think he has the potential to be elite or be amongst the world class? I'm yet to see. I've got to see a bit more, you know, but without saying that, though, I do actually think he's a good player, you know. And again, there's nothing wrong with being good, but I need to see a bit more from from João Neves. I know he's only still young. I believe he's 20 years of age. But from what I've seen of him, he does work well for PSG's midfield. But I won't put him in the world class. Where's Declan Rice? Don't worry, man. We are working our way through. We are working our way through, man. Don't worry. Don't worry. There's plenty of players we need to discuss. So don't worry, Arsenal, Pakistan, man. We'll get there eventually. Next player we're gonna work on. Obviously, that's PSG's team done. So we're gonna go on to Real Madrid. Kylian Mbappe. Now, Kylian Mbappe for me, yeah. I think the first things first, yeah, with Kylian Mbappe. Do I think Mbappe is as good as what people make him out to be? I don't. And that's nothing on Mbappe, but I think it kind of shows you the level of where football is at the moment, yeah, because I think Mbappe, in terms of his mentality, in terms of consistent numbers, you can't argue with it. You know, he is up there. But in terms of the level of player that he is, I've never looked at Mbappe as being this absolute world superstar. Yeah. I've always looked at him as someone that has mad pace, you know, someone that is consistent in front of goal, and someone, to be fair, that does show up in the big moments. You know, if you look at the World Cup, you know, when they got beat by Argentina, to step up and score 4 goals in a final, you know, I know 2 of them were 2 of them penalties, I think they were, or 3. Like that shouldn't be underestimated. That should not be underestimated. You know what I mean? Because, you know, it takes some serious mental strength to really, you know, to really score them goals, really, you know, especially when your team are behind. And I think it goes without saying, man, just how good of a striker he has been, really, since he's come onto the scene. Obviously a left winger naturally, but has shown that through the middle, he is an asset, you know, and his long-term future for France and for Real Madrid is difficult to see, because obviously where you're playing for your club, you are more or less going to play there for your country. But Mbappe, for me, for France, is better playing from the wing, better playing from left wing. And obviously for Real Madrid, Vinicius Junior's there, so really he has to play through the middle anyway, you know. But I think eventually his long-term future, I wonder if it's going to be back on the left, because I think if Vinicius Junior does go, because I think Vinicius Junior, for me, I don't think Vinicius Junior stays there long. I don't think Vinicius Junior stays there longer than Mbappe. And I think if Vinicius Junior does go, that probably might put Mbappe back out on the left-hand side, and they might go and get a central striker, someone that's more of a pivot kind of player. But based on that, for me, I think just because of what Mbappe's done in the big games, what he's done since he's broke onto the scene, you know, captain for France now. Again, another player that is due a big World Cup. I think it's only right that he goes into world class. Yeah. Jude Bellingham. Now, a player that divides opinion, not for me. A player that, you know, people think has got the world at his feet. Yeah. Now, for me, the very fact that I see a player like Jude Bellingham getting the kind of PR, the praise that he does, for me is unjust, you know. And I think there's people out there, yeah. And again, I think people need to really understand where I come from on how I judge players, because people out there will think, well, you're just trying to rage bait, or you're just saying things for clicks or whatever people want to say. Yeah. First and foremost, yeah, I don't need to be saying anything for clicks, because the reality is no one's going to make me change my mind on how I view certain players. Like, we can have a debate if you disagree, but there's no one that is going to make me change my mind as to how I see players. You know what I mean? And from someone that has just watched And for someone that has just that has seen so many players, yeah, um, I just can't bring myself to be looking at a Jude Bellingham as a top footballer, and it's not going to happen really, because the only thing that he has, from what I see, is physicality. He's a big guy, you know, and in a Spanish league, his physicality will work in a league that hasn't got that. But his actual ball playing skills is just not there. And I had some people telling me he's a great dribbler, he's this, he's that. And listen, you guys probably know where I'm going to put Jude Bellingham anyway. And again, this is no bias, but for me, I'm putting Jude Bellingham in the poor category, because I've never seen a player of that low level at Real Madrid. You go through Real Madrid's history of players, yeah? They've always had a certain amount of quality to a footballer. Go through their whole history. I've never seen them get a player as low on quality as Jude Bellingham. And that's the honest truth. Go through their history. All the players they sign have a certain quality to their game. Jude Bellingham, for me, is purely at Real Madrid because of PR and because of because of PR and because of the physicality that he has. That is it. So yeah, Jude Bellingham for me is in the poor category. And personally, I don't really care how you feel about it. If you don't like it, then that's your problem. But yeah. So Exedra says, him being overrated aside, there's a lot worse out there, but I don't know how strong the names are here. Big up to Exedra. But bro, what I would say, tell me the names that are worse, and then we can debate them. Because I'm telling you now, yeah, I think people only put Bellingham high up because of the name. Like, you even look at things like something as minor as this, yeah. I've got an Alexa, yeah, and when I say Alexa, yeah, I say Alexa, Kobe Minu. She don't even respond. As soon as I say Bellingham, she's telling me his first name. So this is what I'm trying to tell you. Like, he is on everyone's lips, man, for some reason. Like, it's mad for a player of that low level. And bro, I hear it. Yagate, yeah, I hear it, yeah. But what I would say, yeah, if I look at Yagate, who's a terrible footballer, yeah, what's Yagate's strengths? His strengths are winning the ball back, yeah. Tell me what Jude Bellingham's strengths are. At least Yagate is shit at football, yeah, but he's got a strength that might work for other teams, yeah. What can you tell me that what Jude Bellingham's strengths are? What is something that he does well at? Go on, bro. I'll wait, man. I'll wait. Tell me something that he does well. But again, this ain't even like this ain't even rage baiting. Like, I can't find you anything he does well. What does he do well? Yeah, listen, I asked Alexa. I said, Alexa, Kobe Minu. You know when Alexa does that funny sound and just doesn't even respond. Yeah, and I didn't even say Bellingham's full name. I just said I think I said Bellingham or Jude, and she told me his full name. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Even Alexa knows who Jude Bellingham is. Crazy. You know what I mean? But it is what it is, man. But yeah, Bellingham for me goes into the poor category. You know, along with I mean, if you want to put Yagate in, you know, in abysmal, cool. But for me, he goes into the poor category. Let's move on. Vinicius Jr. You know, a guy that suffered racial abuse very recently as well. Big up to Craven Cottage, bro. Big up yourself, man. I was gonna mention that, yeah, but I thought let me leave it for today. His strength is his hairline and the light skin. Let's keep it real. Hairline and the light skin, yeah, has got him his PR, because I know it's not the football. So that is the problem, man. That is the problem. Bro, don't worry, man. I'll run through the list. Don't worry. We got a few players to go through, yeah? And Vinicius Jr.'s up now. Again, a player that was racially abused recently. And what I would say, yeah, is for me, he was carrying Real Madrid when Benzema went. You know, as soon as obviously, if anyone remembers, Benzema was calling out Vinicius as a poor player, and then you see the fact that um, as soon as as soon as Bellingham went, sorry, as soon as Benzema went to Saudi, you know, Vinicius Junior, Rodrigo were carrying the front line. Really, you know, I know the one season Bellingham did get a couple of did get a lot of goals for reasons that we know why, but Vinicius Junior was the main attacker. Obviously, as I said before, I said as soon as Mbappe comes through the door, Vinicius Junior will take a back seat. And that isn't because he isn't good enough, but it's because when you've got two players that have big profiles like Vinicius Junior and Mbappe, only one can survive. And obviously, Mbappe has always got more goals, really, over his career. And obviously, he's playing centrally as well, has the biggest PR between him and Vinicius Junior. It was always going to be him. You know what I mean? I've always said as well, Vinicius Junior and Mbappe in the same team against the best teams, I don't think it can work, because you're going to have two players that, in their own mind, will think that they're the go-to guy. You know, but I think in terms of Vinicius Junior, since he's been at Real Madrid, since he became the main guy, I think no one can deny that he has been very consistent. You know, and he has scored some great goals. You know, and for me, Vinicius Junior, you know, is a world-class player for me. He is a world-class player. No doubt about that. Aurelien Tchouameni. Again, a player that is, for me, you know, when he broke onto the scene, you know, if anyone remembers this, guys, as well, yeah. Aurelien Tchouameni used to be at Monaco before he went to Real Madrid, yeah. And he played with Cesc Fabregas, yeah. And Cesc Fabregas at the time said, this is a player in Tchouameni that he believes can go right to the top. So I think people probably actually forgot this, you know. And again, Tchouameni, just like Camavinga, was linked with Manchester United. And as we know, when Real Madrid come calling, it's very hard to deny players going to Real Madrid, arguably being one of the biggest clubs, if not the biggest club in the world. Now, has Tchouameni been as good as what people predicted? He hasn't. Obviously, this is a guy that's been playing at centre-back as well because of their injury crisis. But I remember him making his debut for France, you know, and he had a very good debut. And for me, I think Tchouameni is still a top player. I don't think Tchouameni is world-class, which is probably giving it away now. But I still think he's at a level where, you know, if he gets back onto track, you know, he could be seen as a world-class player. But I think at this moment in time, it's probably fair to say he's in between good and world-class. And I'm probably going to say he's top class. I think he's someone, you know, that is starting to play a lot better for Real Madrid, but nowhere near the level that people probably predicted, you know. Arsenal and Pakistan cricket team reckons he's good or decent. I think he's top class, Tchouameni. He is top class. I think Real Madrid have been struggling, you know, because if you look at Real Madrid this season, the only probably two players you'd probably say consistently that have been world class really is Mbappe and Vinicius Junior, and that's probably because we're looking at the goal side of it or the winners, you know. But I think everyone else has obviously dropped off or below par. And guys, I did have more players on here as well, but I'm just working with the players that are on the screen, as you guys can see. Yeah. Moving on to next player, which is Federico Valverde. Now, for me, Valverde, you know, has got the unfortunate pleasure, really, of having to be playing right back when they've obviously had Carvajal out injured. Obviously, Trent was out injured as well. So Valverde's position has been, you know, right back 1 minute, in the midfield 1 minute. Obviously, he's the captain for Real Madrid right now, and what I would say is for me, Valverde for me is a I'm going to put him in now anyway. He's a top class player for me, but he's someone that, you know, at the moment is a bit of a jack of all trades, someone that can play multiple positions. But you would think the captain of Real Madrid should really have a nailed on position. And I think for me, he's a top class player. And if you guys remember, I was speaking about this before. I think the fact that Valverde has to play right back to see Bellingham playing in midfield, I think you can't tell me Valverde is happy with that, because Valverde is better than Jude Bellingham. He is. But the fact that he's playing right back, and I know because he's versatile, and he sees Jude Bellingham rocking up in midfield doing nothing, you know, you can't tell me that Valverde, as the captain of the club, is happy with that, you know. Big up Exedra says, even Vinny, Gav, I'd put in top class and not world class. Do you know what? I hear it. I think Vinny could be in either. The reason I've said Vinicius Junior is in world class is because you cannot deny, as soon as Benzema went, Vinicius Junior, you know, had the team on his back, really, from an attacking point of view. And he was instrumental in them winning the Champions League. You know, you think of the game against Borussia Dortmund in the final. He scored in the final, you know, and he was instrumental in them in the Champions League. You can't really deny that. And I think just based on that, he deserves to go into the world-class bracket for me. You know, yeah, he deserves to go in there for me, man. I think it'll be unfair to say he's top class, because he's got moments of brilliance in him. You know, as much as he's frustrating, but if I'm going to put Mbappe in there, then I have to put Vinicius Junior in there, because the only thing you would say about Mbappe and Vinicius Junior is that it's either goals or PR that separates the two of them, you know. But Vinicius Junior turns up in the Champions League. As poor as Real Madrid have been this season, yeah, they're playing City tonight, yeah. If Real Madrid score, don't be surprised if it's not Vinicius Junior, because he always shows up in games like this. So, as I said, man, yeah, I've got no problem putting him in the world class, man. Yeah, guys, listen, Rodrigo. I'm working with players that are on this list, because I've got loads of players that I wanted to discuss, but because obviously this tier list that I'm going through now, it's only the players that are on this list, unfortunately. So, yeah. Moving on, Arda Güler. You know, for me, Arda Güler is a top player, man. He's a top player. I'm gonna put him in the top class, and the reason I put him in top class is because potentially, you know, he's one of the best players in the world for me. You know, what I like about Arda Güler is his composure on the ball, his quality on the ball. And as you can see now in football, guys, yeah, football is moving away from the number 10. And I've said this for so long now. It's the reason why when people say a number 9's job is to just score goals, that's incorrect, because the game's moving away from that. And it's the same thing with the number 10. The number 10 position, you know, unfortunately, is a thing of the past. And I'm hoping, yeah, within the next year or next season, we start to see the number 10 position come back. You know, it's the reason why I've always said, when people are saying Bruno Fernandes, you know, is the best 10 in Europe or the league, you know, what people are doing there, they're not actually doing their homework. Because if you actually check football right now, there ain't many teams that play with a number 10. So the pool of number 10s he's playing against is very small. So again, you know, Arda Güler is a number 10, you know, and he's someone for me potentially, you know, if that position does come back, he can be one of the top, you know, 2 or 3 players in that position, because he's that good. And the fact that he's getting more game time as well, I'm happy with. So yeah, he goes in top class purely because of the potential that he has. And I think the more he plays, the more he's going to grow. So as I said, yeah, I think he's a good player, man. Arda Güler, top player. Next player is that, yeah, Dean Howson. I think Dean Howson at obviously Spanish international. Dean Howson at Bournemouth, you know, looked like one of the best young defenders in Europe. Yeah. And I think the one thing I would say about Dean Howson is that it's very clear that him going to a big club, has probably taken him out of his comfort zone. Because at Bournemouth, he could afford to, be a bit lackadaisical, you would say, and no one's really talking about it. But for Real Madrid, you've got to be on your game each and every week. And obviously, he's a young defender, and I think he has got qualities in his game. What I like about him is his composure on the ball. Again, a guy that was formerly at Juventus as well. And I do think he is someone that has the potential to get better, but there's no denying that he's not at the level that many thought, And what I would say, and I will go through your comments in a minute, I'm going to put Dean Howson in good. I'm putting him in good. I think he's at the similar level to what João Neves is. I think he's better than decent. He has got quality to his game. He's good on the ball. He's very composed. He can read the game well as well. And he's a threat in the air. But I think the move to Real Madrid, you could probably say, has come a bit too early in his career. But I do think that he is good. Howson in decent. I think he's better than decent, my guy Exedra. I think he's better than decent. Euro clears him by miles. Yeah, I think Euro's better than him, but I do think Howson's good. I do think he's good. Dean Howson this season has just been good, bruv. Yeah, I think he's been good as well, man. That's why I put him in there. I think he's a good defender, man, to be fair, but he definitely hasn't gone on to be what many probably predicted. But anyway, let's move it on. Trent Alexander-Arnold. Now, just like Jude Bellingham, obviously them two are good friends. Another player that does divide opinion. And what I would say, is that Trent really, had it all at Liverpool, and can I blame him for leaving Liverpool? Not really, because he obviously thought the grass was greener, and you can't blame him for going to one of the biggest teams in the world. Obviously his friends there, Jude Bellingham as well. So he probably saw the lights and thought, yeah, let me go over there and, be amongst, the elite clubs in a sense. But what I would say, if he would have stayed at Liverpool, he arguably would have been one of their highest earners. He would have gone down as, one of their best ever legends, with the fact that he's come through the youth like a Gerrard. And what I would say is that he's gone to Real Madrid and he has suffered injuries. But what I would say is that there's no protection. The English media can't protect Trent in Spain because the Spanish media don't care about him. To him, he's just another player, And what I would say is that the qualities that Trent has, Trent can strike a ball, he can pass the ball. But the biggest problem for Trent Alexander-Arnold, is the fact that whenever he comes up against a winger that's either quick or tricky, there's question marks around him. And that's been the problem for him, probably his whole career. Obviously, a guy that's naturally a midfielder anyway, But this is the reason why he's not really been trusted for England. Because in international football, you need to be good, in isolation. You need to be good individually. Because let's just say in the World Cup, he gets isolated by a Vinicius Jr., by a Mbappe, by a trying to think of a Kenan Yildiz, someone like that. Yeah, that's a left winger that's going to test him for pace or for trickery. How does he deal with that if he starts for England? And this is the reason why Trent doesn't really start, and you have more confidence in a Reece James. You know what I mean? So again, I think Trent does have qualities, but I think he's another one that is very high on the PR side. But based on that, I'm going to put him into decent because he has, to be fair, you could put him into good. But the reason I put him into decent, is because he has very good quality, but his defensive work has a lot to be desired by, So he could go into decent or good, but I'm going to put him into decent because he has got good quality, but his defending, is a bit questionable. Let's just say. Next player, Eder Militao. Eder Militao. A guy that suffered a lot of injuries, to be fair. Someone that, for me, Brazilian international, is he going to be in the Brazil squad come the World Cup? You think of the Brazilian defenders that they could actually choose from, yeah? They've got Marquinhos, Gabriel Magalhaes. They've got Murillo. They've got Militao, Lucas Beraldo at PSG. Pretty sure there's someone else. And again, he's someone that's just had a bad injury career, And again, it's very hard to kind of debate as to what tier to put him in. Big up to Diddy Batman says Militao has been top whenever he has actually played. Yeah, I agree. They're a better team when he's there, no doubt. But his injury record, is questionable. So where I'm looking at Militao, I'm looking at between good and top class. It's difficult, really. I'm trying to think, good or top class. Do you know what I'm going to say, yeah? I'm going to say Militao goes into good. And that I think he can be better, but the injuries really have kind of taken its toll on him, Yeah, the injuries really have taken its toll on him. But yeah, it's frustrating, really. Because I think he's actually a better. I mean, with him and Rudiger at the back, they're actually a better team. But again, you can't help injuries, man. But yeah, I think good is probably fair. But again, he's another player that, if he has a couple of good, strong seasons and stays injury clear, he could easily be in the top class or the world class bracket. No problem. Moving on to Rodrigo. Now, it's unfortunate Rodrigo's out for the season. A player that's missing the World Cup, and again, this is the problem when you have the World Cup around the corner, man. You get players of top level that are potentially now going to miss the World Cup. And Rodrigo suffered an ACL, And I've always said, yeah, between Rodrigo, Vinicius Jr. and Mbappe, Rodrigo is the more naturally talented player, but the other two have the bigger PR. And I've always said this. One thing I noticed about Rodrigo, yeah, is that Rodrigo had put on a bit of weight, which obviously changed his boot sponsorship as well. If you remember, Rodrigo used to wear Nike. He now wears Adidas. And I always looked at Rodrigo as a top player, man. But he definitely put on a bit of weight. But he's always had the quality, But it's the PR in comparison to the other players that went against him, And the fact that he's missing the season now, he's missing the World Cup. These are the kind of things that you don't want to see. But his ability for me, as I said, and I've got no issue with doing this, he definitely goes into the world-class bracket for me. No problem at all. Because I actually think he's a world-class player. I wouldn't blame people if they said top class, but I think he was world-class. I just think he didn't have the PR. And then people wouldn't look at him as world-class. But yeah, man, it's a shame he's missing the World Cup, man, because you don't want to see players like that miss the World Cup. Yeah. So yeah, I've got no problem. I mean, if people want to put him in top class, I hear it. But the way that I saw Rodrigo with the quality he has, he had world-class ability, man. No doubt about it. Let's move it on. Lamine Yamal. Now, listen, I'm not going to waste my time here. Not going to waste my time. He's someone that is probably the easiest decision that you'll make. As I keep saying, yeah, this is a guy that was a key player for club and country at 16. Tell me a player that's done that at 16. I've never heard it. Key player for club and country at 16. Led them to the Euros as well, and will be important. Will be the main player for them along with Pedri in the World Cup as well. Definitely a Ballon d'Or winner in the making, no doubt about that. Obviously had a quiet game by his standards yesterday against Newcastle, but again, a lot of that was due to Lewis Hall, who's a very good player. But listen, the composure for the penalty that he scored yesterday, the player himself, there's not really too much talking that we've got to do about Lamine Yamal. He's just a world-class player and will be dominating the Ballon d'Or for years to come, as he should be. Spare me 1 minute, guys. 1 minute. Right, moving it on to the next player, Thibaut Courtois. Again, a lot of the players for me that are world class, you've got 6 players that are from PSG's team, which is crazy in France. And so far, we've got 4 players from La Liga. And, there's a couple more that are definitely going to be in the world class bracket, starting with Thibaut Courtois. I think Courtois, for me, is he's one of the best keepers in the world, along with sorry, guys, 1 minute. Guys, bear me 1 second. So yeah, Thibaut Courtois for me, guys. Yeah, along with Donnarumma, along with what's his name, Allison. I'll even put Lamens up there as well. Again, I'm not saying Lamens is world class, but they're the best performing keepers in the world right now. David Raya has been good as well, made a couple of good saves. But yeah, as I said, man, Thibaut Courtois for me, him and Donnarumma, they're the 2 best keepers in the world for me right now. And Thibaut Courtois has been doing it for a while now, isn't it? So it's not really a surprise. So he definitely goes into the world class. And again, he's someone that, if Real Madrid are to go all the way to the Champions League final, he's going to be instrumental, and he's shown before that he can be that guy. So let's see what happens tonight against Man City, but definitely world class for me. Pedri. And listen, we're not going to mess around here again. Now, one of my favorite players in the world to watch, him and Yamal, they're 2 of my favorite players currently now. Along with Vitinha, and as I said before, Moises Caicedo, these guys are just 3 of the best midfielders in the world. And Pedri, for me, the reason I love Pedri, yeah, is because Pedri, for me, is the closest player to Andres Iniesta. And Andres Iniesta was criminally underrated. And when I say Iniesta was underrated, yeah, I look at Iniesta as the Messi of the midfield, just like I look at Busquets as the DM of he's a DM of what Messi is of as a forward, yeah. And he's the closest player that I've seen to what Iniesta does in terms of the close control. These guys are not physically strong, but on the ball, press resistant, can turn you at any instance. If you watched the game yesterday, yeah, against Newcastle, and it just shows you how good Pedri is. Playing away from home, guy has no physicality really, yeah. But just look at how he protects the ball, the body swerves, how he gets out of tight positions, and most importantly, keeps the ball. Like, I don't think people deep how good of a player he is, because what he does, yeah, is not easy. Trust me, it's not easy. You have to be very intelligent, very technically skilled to be doing what he does on the ball. And especially when, exactly, Pedri wasn't even at 100%. But especially when you're playing against a Newcastle team that has Joe Linton in it, yeah, and they're a physical team, you're away from home, the crowd are on top of you. To do what he does in the game, people need to be like studying him a lot more because he's that good, Pedri. He is that good. And as I said, He's the closest sort of player to an Iniesta, to a Modric in football right now, a Marco Verratti. You know what I mean? These kind of players that haven't got the physicality, diminutive in height, but these guys you can't get the ball off them because they're just too good. The intelligence, the touch, it's ridiculous, man. And as I said, him in world class is just easy. And what would be justice for me with Pedri, yeah? I would love to see Pedri win a Ballon d'Or because that will show me that football is still alive. Because if Pedri was to win a Ballon d'Or, yeah, then it will show me that football's on its way back. Because Pedri's not going to get you 30 to 40 GA. That ain't his game. And this is why when people tell me about GA, throw it in the bin. Because you can't tell me that, these players that get mad GA are anywhere near Pedri. Pedri's like him and Vitinha, as the kind of midfield players that they stand alone because they're that good. And as I said, man, Pedri for me, he can win I'd love to see him win a Ballon d'Or. And Exedia, bro, yeah, I hear it, man, because the reason why it'll be difficult for Pedri, yeah, is because we know how the Ballon d'Or works. It's like if you're winning Champions League, if you're winning World Cups, Euros, your league, then that's how it works. And you get numbers, yeah? The very fact that Yamal's in the same team as him for club and country, yeah? Whatever Pedri wins, Yamal's going to win, yeah? And then obviously Yamal's Yamal's going to get more numbers as well because he's playing in attacking part of the pitch. So for Pedri to get Ballon d'Or, it's unlikely as long as Yamal's there because you've got two players in the same team for club and country, and we know how Ballon d'Or works. And Yamal's younger, but Pedri just needs to be getting the recognition that he deserves, because as I said, he's one of the best midfielders in the world for me, definitely in the top two. If you want to say him, Caicedo, and Vitinha, like Pedri's in the top two, so you're debating between Caicedo and Vitinha. That's how good Pedri is, man. So easily world class for me. No doubt about it. Moving on, Rafinha. Again, Rafinha last season had a very good season in terms of numbers. Obviously, formerly of Leeds. Again, another player that was at Rennes as well in France. Was he at Rennes or Lille? I think it might have been Rennes before he made the move to Leeds. And I think no one would have saw the career that Rafinha would have in the Premier League. The career he would have had at Barcelona with the numbers. But again, I watched him yesterday, yeah? And as much as he had a good season and he does pop up with goals, yeah? I don't think his quality is of the level of the absolute elites. It's not for me, He's a bit hit and miss for me, Rafinha. He's someone that's hit and miss, but gets numbers. I think what it is with Rafinha, yeah, I liken Rafinha to how can I explain Rafinha? I liken Rafinha to a Mo Salah in a sense. He won't get more consistent goals than Salah, but he's got more quality than Salah. You know what I mean? And again, this might shock people, yeah, because I actually do think Rafinha is a good player. But if I'm being honest, yeah, I'm thinking good or top class for Rafinha, and I'd probably have to say, based on his season last season, the fact that he does get numbers and has been performing well as well, I think I'll put him in top class. But for me, he could easily go into good because his quality is a bit up and down for me, but he does score crucial goals. He does. Robert Lewandowski. Now, there's no doubt in, yeah. And again, I think I'm going to put Lewandowski in top class, yeah, because he was world class, but there's no doubt in that he's dropped off. And again, he's dropped off not because he's not good enough, but because he is getting on and he isn't the same Robert Lewandowski. But the era of him, Karim Benzema, Luis Suarez, Sergio Aguero, that four as a striking partnership, strikers in their era, in their prime, like it goes a long way to beating a four like that. consistently, yeah. But Lewandowski, as we know, he's someone that in the important games, when you need to get a goal, you know, you'll expect him to pop up with a goal. And as I said, man, like he's not world class anymore for me. At Bayern Munich, he was devastating at Bayern Munich. He was an absolute problem for Bayern Munich, and even before that, at Borussia Dortmund. But at Bayern Munich, at Barcelona, sorry, he does score goals. Like he's always going to score goals, but the level has dropped off, and you can't really blame it really because he is getting on. But someone that would have been in world class, if this tier list was done before. But I'm going to put him in top class because of what he's done, showing up. Alejandro Balde, a player that was linked to Manchester United this season. Guys, we got all these players to work through, yeah. But I'm not going to work through some of the other teams. There's only going to be major European teams, yeah. So there's no Newcastle, no Aston Villa, even though you can see them down here. No Napoli, no Inter, no Dortmund either. No Newcastle. So we're gonna work on Balde, yeah. I'm gonna put Balde in. It's difficult. I'm thinking good or top class. I'm gonna put Balde in good. But even though I think Balde potentially is going to be one of the best left backs in the world, I believe, And if we can get Balde at Man United, listen, I don't think it's going to happen because why would Barcelona let him go? It don't make any sense. Big up to In the Boxing Ring. Big up yourself. New person in the chat. Guys, make sure you're smashing the likes. Make sure you're subbing to the channel if you're new. And make sure you are sharing the channel on your socials as well. So yeah, we are doing the tier list, world class to poor, and as I said, Alejandro Balde for me is a good player. I think he can be in the top class bracket, but I think he's another one that you want to see him have, a few more consistent seasons before you can start saying he's world class. But I think he's definitely someone for me that can be amongst the best left backs in the game. And what I would say is Nuno Mendes is by far the best left back in the world. But I think Balde could reach that level for me. He can, but he's not that at the moment. Big up to In the Boxing Ring says Bruno just gets numbers, so does Bellingham. Both average. How they are playing at big clubs. And you know what? Yeah. In the Boxing Ring, man. Big up for your first time coming through, yeah? But you're on the right channel because, again, people in my chat will tell you what I've spoken about the likes of Bellingham and Bruno, yeah? And again, I'm not going to bore you guys again because you guys know what I'm going to say, yeah? But Bruno Fernandes and Jude Bellingham, they're arguably two of the most overrated players that I've ever seen in football. It's that bad because people only rate these players for numbers. But again, if we know how numbers are counted, if assists are counted in this era, it's an absolute joke. The fact that Jude Bellingham is that bad of a footballer, yeah, but yet he's found his way at Real Madrid is only because of the sharp hairline, the light skin, and the PR. I'd argue that with anyone, yeah, because I've never seen a player that bad at football playing for one of the biggest teams in the world. And then you got Bruno Fernandes, yeah, that is just a massive problem at Manchester United. And whenever he plays bad, people ignore it to try and tell you about his numbers. But if you understand that numbers can be replaced, yeah, Bruno's not irreplaceable, no matter what anyone says. And I'm just hoping, come the end of the season, he's gone from this club. It's that simple, But big up yourself anyway, man, for coming through. And make sure you're smashing the like button as well. Let's move it on to Jules Koundé. Now, Jules Koundé, for me, as a footballer, he's poor. He's a poor footballer for me. And I'm going to put him into decent because I can't put him into good knowing that Trent Alexander-Arnold is a much better footballer than him, isn't as good defensively. So they've got it the other way around. You know what I mean? Trent's good on the ball, is a good footballer. Jules Koundé's not. Trent's a poor defender. Jules Koundé is actually a good defender. Yeah. So again, Barcelona's two fullbacks have it the wrong way round. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I'll put Jules Koundé into decent. Obviously, he's out injured at the moment. I think Jules Koundé, as I say, is a centre back by trade at Sevilla as well. But I think I'm surprised to see him as a right back at Barcelona personally, you know, because the Barcelona right backs that I remember, Dani Alves, you know what I mean? Look, Dani Alves for me, one of the best right backs to play the game. You know, you think of before that, they had the likes of Michael Reisiger, if you remember Reisiger. And they've had a few other guys as well. But yeah, Koundé for me is not a Barcelona archetype kind of player. But I think they've got him there because of his physicality and his defense, really. But him as a right back, it's just about fitting him into the team. I mean, he has been decent, but he's not a right back that I would be familiar with Barcelona using, to be fair, because look at the drop-off from Dani Alves to Jules Koundé. You know what I mean? So, mad. Pau Kabasi. Again, I'm going to put Pau Kabasi in the same mold as Balde. You know, I think these are two players, really, that when I'm looking into the future, these two players are going to be, you know, either top class or world class players. I think their trajectory is there for me. So yeah, they could easily go into the top class. You know, I think if I'm looking at all the youngsters there, I think Goulet and Doué, they're a bit different to the rest of the other youngsters in my sense, in the sense of these guys are top class, I'd say, at the moment. Whereas Balde and Kabasi, you know, João Neves, Howson, they've still got a bit more to do. And then you've got Yamal, you know, you've got so there's someone else. Yeah, just Yamal actually. Yamal at 18 is already world class. And I think that's the way I kind of separate them guys, man. So yeah. Moving it on, Frankie de Jong. Now, massive fan of Frankie de Jong, you know. I think Frankie de Jong is someone that does go under the radar, you know. And I'm going to put Frankie de Jong in world class because, again, a player that was chased by Manchester United. I think de Jong, injuries have killed him as well, you know. I don't think he's at the level that, you know, he once was, where people were genuinely saying, you know, he's the best in the world in his position. There's a reason why Barcelona signed him as well. You know, they signed him really to be the heir to Busquets' throne. Hasn't really gone on to do that, but still a top class player. I think he's still world class for me, but has suffered a few injuries, isn't it? So obviously he's Barcelona's vice captain as well, but I do definitely think that he can get back to that level, you know. So yeah, he's world class for me. Marcus Rashford. Marcus Rashford. I'm going to put Rashford, yeah. And again, Rashford for me is going to go into the decent category. And the reason he's decent is because Rashford has his strengths and weaknesses. Yeah, he's got pace. You know, he can hit the odd. He can hit the odd shot as well. You know, on his day, he can be a bit of a handful, but on his day is few and far between for me. You know, and I think Rashford is someone that is a bit hit and miss. You know, the fact that he's found his way at Barcelona is purely because of the PR. You know, not because he's just this outstanding player that these guys just can't do without. But for me, I think decent is fair to be putting him in that category because he has got qualities, but I wouldn't say that he's someone that should be any higher than that. You know, if I'm saying good, you know, the players that I've put in good are players that have either had injuries or they've and they have shown something since they've come back, or you know, they've got potential really. You know, so I think decent's fair enough for Rashford. Juan Garcia. Now, I think Juan Garcia for me, obviously coming from Espanyol, has made a difference to Barcelona. This is a difficult one because I'm definitely not putting him in the world class yet. So it's either good or top class. Again, I'll need to see him a lot more. I'm going to put him into good because I would need to see a lot more from him. Well, I say a lot more. I think it's only fair if he does it after another couple more seasons to put him in the top class bracket. If I'm honest, but he has been good for Barcelona, and I think he's definitely got the potential to be one of the best keepers in the world. And who knows, he could be in the Spain squad for the World Cup as well. Moving on to Liverpool, guys. Ryan Gravenberch. I'm going to put Gravenberch in top class because I think Gravenberch was someone that, before he left Ajax, I was hoping he'd come to Manchester United, but I think the fact that he went to Bayern Munich, obviously after Ajax, and then we had the chance to get him again, and he goes to Liverpool, is annoying. But I do think he's a very good footballer. He's a number 8. They're playing him as a number 6. And his breakout season was last year when they won the league. But I do think he's someone that has got a lot of quality to his game. So yeah, he goes into that bracket for me easily. Mo Salah. Now Salah's an interesting one, yeah, because you guys already know what I'm going to say about Salah, yeah. Salah was someone that, his game was very much about physicality and pace, yeah. And I always said, once he lost the physicality and the pace, yeah, you're going to really see what he is. And that's just not a very good footballer, And the goals have dried up, the performances are getting worse. And as I said, man, it's only fair to put him. Yeah, Salah is PR. I think the one thing you have to give Salah, yeah, Salah has consistently put numbers up. Like, that's one thing you give him credit for. But as I said before, numbers should never be the measuring stick as to how you kind of see players. It should be the actual ability of the player. And the fact that his numbers have dried up, you're getting to see just how poor of a footballer he actually is. So again, Salah for me goes into the decent category. Florian Wirtz. Now, Florian Wirtz instantly goes into top class. The only reason Florian Wirtz isn't world class for me is because at Liverpool he's had a slow start. He is getting better, but at Bayer Leverkusen he was definitely world class for me. Top player, one of my favorite players. But I'm putting him in top class because it's a potential thing, and I do believe in the next couple of seasons he'll be one of the best players in the Premier League because he's got the quality, man. It's that Liverpool are actually going for a tough time, and he's part of it. I mean, and obviously he's involved in it, should I say? Next one for Fitz. I know where Fitz is going with this one. Virgil van Dijk. Now, Van Dijk for me, there was no doubt in that he was world class. He was, but the Van Dijk now, whether that injury that he suffered has killed him, I don't know. But the aura defending has come back into it, is in his game. But for me, he's not in the world-class bracket no more. I think he's just dropped off. But I think it's only fair to say that Van Dijk still does deserve to be in the top-class bracket for me. I know people think he should be in the poor category, but he's not in the world-class bracket at the moment no more. Can he get back to that? Maybe. But I think top class is fair to say, man. I think it is fair to say for Van Dijk, because there was no doubting that he was the best defender in the world, man, when he was on song. But at the moment, he is struggling, Moving it on to Hugo Ekitike. I think Ekitike, to be fair, has been one of the standout players this season for Liverpool. I think he's looking a bit tired because let's remember, man, Isak was brought in, and obviously he's not been playing. Obviously, he's been injured, and this means that Ekitike is playing a lot more than what was expected. But for me, I think potentially, he's one of the best strikers in Europe. Obviously, a player that's formerly of PSG as well. And I think for what he's shown this season, I think he deserves to be in there, man. No doubt. No doubt. And let's see how he finishes the end of the season. Dominic Szoboszlai. I'm going to put Szoboszlai into good because what I would say about Szoboszlai, yeah, Szoboszlai for me, he's a symptom of what football is now. You know, he's a very good athlete. He can strike a ball. He can play multiple positions. And that's what football's about now. Football's less about the absolute individual quality. It's about players that can run for 90 minutes, you know, play in multiple positions, you know, and then chip in with goals. And that should tell everyone why football is in the bin, you know. And Dominic Szoboszlai, not saying he's not a good player, but he's probably the symptom of what football is now, you know. But I do think he's a good player. He has his qualities, you know, but not world class or top class for me. No way. No way. Yeah, not for me, man. Alexis McAllister. Again, another player that I'm gonna put in good. You know, at Brighton, I think he was actually better at Brighton, you know, because they're actually a proper footballing team. At Liverpool, I know he's won a league title, you know, but this season he ain't been great in and out of games. But again, just like Szoboszlai, you know, he's someone that has an engine, can play for that can run for 90 minutes. He has got quality to his game, to be fair, you know. But I don't think he's top class or world class for me. So I think it's fair putting him in good. Alisson, I think Alisson for me is just like Van Dijk in the top class category. Players that have dropped off, you know, not as good as they were. But that's probably a symptom of what's happening with Liverpool right now. But I do think that he can somewhat get back to maybe being a world-class keeper, or maybe, you know, he's going to decline from here. Who knows? But I think top class is probably fair enough for him. Alexander Isak. Again, I'm going to put Isak in the good category because I think... sorry, guys, 1 minute. Yeah, I'm going to put him in the good category. I actually think Isak... yeah, sorry, guys. I'm going to put him in the good category because I think Isak is a good Premier League striker, but I think the hype that he gets, I'm not too sure. And obviously the injuries have killed him. So let's see how he kind of recovers from that. Anyone watch UFC or boxing? Yeah, bro, 100%. Of course. UFC, man, I'm more from back in the day, man, with the likes of, you know, the John Joneses, the Anderson Silvers, the GSP and that. But yeah, man, 100% watch boxing and UFC and wrestling as well, bro. Let's carry on. So yeah, I think Isak in the good category. Again, someone that could potentially be in top class, but it's just going to mean that he's going to need to have a strong season next year with Liverpool. Michael Olise, easy one for me, world class. What a player. This is a player that was at Chelsea as well. Obviously was at Reading, Crystal Palace, and now is at one of the biggest clubs in the world in Bayern Munich. And a player for me of just genuine quality. When I look at the top left-footed right wingers in the game right now, the only one better than Olise for me is Lamine Yamal. The only one. You got Yamal, you've got Olise, Mason Greenwood again is up there, and you've got Ahmad for me as well. I think, and well, Ahmad's more of a 10 for me anyway. But when I look at players of real quality that are left-footed right wingers, you know, them four for me stand out for me. Yamal, Olise, Greenwood, and Ahmad, you know. But hopefully Ahmad plays more centrally as a 10 next season. That's what I hope. But Olise is a top player, man. There's not really much to say about Olise. You know, he's just a top player, man. And the fact that he's at Bayern Munich and they're doing what they're doing, like, he's a massive part of it. Jamal Musiala. Musiala for me is going to go in top class. Again, suffered a mad injury. Obviously, he's back now. And I'm putting Musiala into the bracket of the Doués, the Goulets, the Florian Wirtz. You know, they're players that potentially can go into that world-class bracket, but it's going to take another season, a strong season from them to be in that bracket. So, yeah. I mean, Harry Kane, again, simple one, world-class, probably the best striker in the world right now still. Goals, all-round play, just absolute quality, man. Yeah, listen, man. Yeah, man, he's a top player, man. Top player. I think the only thing Harry Kane's got to do really to cement his career legacy is win either a Champions League, World Cup, or a Euros. If he does either one of them three, like Harry Kane's gonna go down as a legend, like one of the very best strikers there has been. You know, people might say, you know, different era, but Harry Kane's a top player, man, and he's definitely in the world-class bracket, no doubt. Luis Diaz. I'm gonna put Luis Diaz in the good category. I think he's a very good player. I think he has got qualities. I was tempted to put him in top class, but I don't think he's top class. I think he's just a very, very good player with pace. You know, can get goals as well. But yeah, I don't think he's world class. I don't think he's world class or top class for me. So yeah, I'm gonna put him in good. Joshua Kimmich. I mean, Kimmich has been about forever. I'm going to put Kimmich in top class. You know, right back, centre midfield, very consistent. You know, obviously vice captain for Bayern Munich as well. And yeah, as I said, man, I do rate him highly. And I think there's no worries about him going in top class. I think he plays both positions equally as well. You know, and I put him in the top class for me. Yeah, 100%. Moving it on. Jonathan Tah. I mean, I'm not sure why Tah's in this list. I'm going to put Tah into decent. Just a decent defender with physical attributes. Don't think he's no sort of world beater. You know, I think he's a leader, organized, but yeah, I mean, I was thinking to put him into the good, but I think just a decent defender, really. You know what I mean? Nothing more, nothing less. Right, guys, we have got so we got Chelsea, Man City, Man United, Arsenal, and a few individual players to go through as well. So yeah, we're gonna go through them anyway. I'm just gonna give you a quick little rundown. Next team we go for is Chelsea. João Pedro. I think João Pedro, for me, you know, if anyone remembers, João Pedro, was rated highly before he come onto the scene. If you remember, he was at Watford, and Watford were they were touting João Pedro highly. You know, wearing number 10 on his back as well at a young age, and then you know they were saying he's going to be a big player in the future, and obviously him going to Brighton, you know, the step up, him going to Chelsea now, you know, he's definitely he's definitely been a major player for them, man, scoring goals. I think he's got something like 11 goals or something like that in his last 11 games or something mad like that. You know, it wouldn't even surprise me if he actually scores tonight, because he's actually a very good player. You know, false nine striker. You know, he does add a lot to their team, man, to Chelsea's team. I'm going to put him in top class, because I think for what he's shown, and I think he can get better as well. Yeah, he's definitely in the top class for me. And again, Cole Palmer, I'm going to put Cole Palmer in the top class. And Cole Palmer goes into the mold with the Florian Wirtz, the Arda Güler's, the Desiree Doués, and the Jamal Musialas. Like, these players, you know, wouldn't surprise you if they're in the world-class brackets the next time around, you know. And as I said, man, yeah, no doubt there. Moises Caicedo, for me, no doubt where he's going. As I said, with the likes of 1 minute, guys. As I said, with the likes of as I said, with the likes of Vitinha and Pedri, world-class player for me, Moises Caicedo. The same with Reece James as well. You know, you've got, along with Hakimi, the two best right backs in the game. So there's no problem there. William Esteval. I'm going to put Esteval in. I'm going to put Esteval in good. I was thinking to put him in world class. I mean, into top class with the likes of Verts and them and the Doués. But I think I'll need to see a lot more from Esteval in this league to see what he does, to see if he is genuinely, you know, that player. But I think it's fair to put him in good. But again, he's someone that, you know, can be top class or world class within the next couple of seasons for me. Mark Cucurella. Again, a guy that's very underrated for me, Cucurella. I think people look at his hair, yeah, and don't take him seriously. You know, I think people look at him and think, you know, you can get at him. He hasn't got the physicality or the pace. You can get at him. But he's someone that is very much underrated for me. You know, he's a top player for me as well. And I think that come the World Cup, you know, I think he's going to start for Spain at left back. You know, you think they've got Balde, they've got Alvaro Fernandez coming through. They've got a few other players as well. But Cucurella's going to start. You know, he was the left back that started in the Euros as well. So, yeah, got no doubt that he's a top-class player as well. Enzo Fernandez, the last Chelsea player. I'm going to put Enzo in good. I think Enzo Fernandez he's a weird player because if you remember when Argentina won the World Cup, you know, he won Young Player of the Tournament. He's one of them players, Enzo, that, you know, it's hard to see if he's a top player or if he's average, you know. And I think I was tempted to put him in top class, but I'm going to put him in good. But I think he's someone that, you know, depending on what happens next season or even for the rest of the season, he could easily be in the top class. I don't think he's world class, but he could be good or top class. No problem. Moving on to Man City. Phil Foden. Now, Phil Foden, when he first broke on, was looking like a world-class talent in the making. But as I keep saying, yeah, Phil Foden's level has dropped. You know, as we know, Phil Foden is a very good footballer. He is. But there's no denying that the likes of Cole Palmer have surpassed him, you know, in the England reckoning and in football in general. And it's one of them things. Has Phil Foden actually, has his career actually stalled? Like, I think Foden's a top player. He is a top footballer, as Titanium has said, yeah. But with Foden, I just don't think Foden's kicked on as much, you know. Like, because by now, Foden should be a bona fide starter for Man City. But as you can see, he's not even guaranteed a start for Man City now because of the amount of quality they have. But the pathway that was meant to be for him, he should be they were saying about him taking over from De Bruyne, taking over from Bernardo Silva, you know, from David Silva. But yeah, I don't think he's gone to a level that many predicted. So I'm putting Foden in the good bracket. Erling Haaland. Now, this might shock people, yeah? This might shock people. I'm putting Erling Haaland in top class. And the reason why Erling Haaland's not in world class for me is because Erling Haaland, he has got better, yeah? But his all-round game isn't of a world-class level. Because if I'm putting Harry Kane in there, Harry Kane has a world-class all-round game and he gets numbers. Haaland gets numbers, but doesn't really have an all-round game like that. Even though he is getting better, by the way, yeah? So I think it's only fair to put him in top class, regardless of the numbers, in my opinion, you know? Omar Marmoush. You know what? I'm going to put Marmoush. I'm going to put Marmoush in top class, which might surprise people because he could be in the good, he could be in top class. But I think Marmoush has got a lot of quality to his game. You know, I think he's a very good player, Marmoush. You know, and the fact that, you know, Haaland didn't play against Newcastle, Marmoush gets 2 goals. I mean, his second goal, what a strike. Like, he's a top player, man. And I think people sleep on Marmoush because when you think of the striker for City, it's Haaland. You know, Marmoush can play in the 10. He can play as a striker, can play on the left. But I definitely think that he's someone that is underrated. You know, and for me, he's a top class player because he's got pace, he can strike the ball, you know, he can score goals, even though he hasn't been that clinical, I don't think. You know, he's technical as well. So yeah, he can dribble. Like he's got a lot to his game, Marmoush, you know, and obviously now he's the main player for Egypt, obviously because Salah's on his way out. But he's a very good player, man. So yeah, I'll put him in the top class. Jeremy Doku. I'm going to put Doku in decent. Yeah. Now, Doku probably produced, one of the best winger performances against a top club that I can remember against Liverpool, because he was a problem. He's unplayable. You know what I mean? But with Doku, even though he did put in one of the best winger performances, for me, Doku is very hit and miss. You know what I mean? He's someone that he's got the pace, he's got the strength. You know, he can dribble, you know. But again, when I say he can dribble, his dribbling is more based on the pace of it. You know, he's not an intricate dribbler. But for me, he flatters to deceive. And I believe he's only got something like, has he got something like one Liga or something like that, which is poor. And again, you know, he's not really someone that I look at and think this guy's an absolute world beater. I think he's got his strengths and weaknesses, which is why I've put him in decent. Who's this? Is that Josko Gavardio? Yeah. Is that Gavardio? Yeah. Josko Gavardio. Gavardio for me is world class. Definitely a world class player for me, Josko Gavardio. I think again he's a player that slept on. I know he's out injured as well, and I believe if he wasn't injured, Man City would have more points on the board in the league. I think he's that good, Gavardio. You know, he was rated highly, you know, when he was at Leipzig. You know, centre-back by trade, but can play left-back as well. The fact that he's playing more centre-back, you know, that was always the thinking, because if you think of Ait-Nouri there now, obviously O'Reilly's come through at left-back. Gavardio can play more centre-back now. And for me, him missing, if I reckon if he was still fit, you know, they'll have more points on the board for me. No doubt. Ruben Diaz. I'm going to put Ruben Diaz in. I'm going to put Diaz in good. Ruben Diaz. I think when Diaz first come to Man City, you know, he was looking at one of the best centre-backs in the league, maybe in Europe. But I think the injuries, you know, loss of form, he has kind of declined a little bit. So, yeah, man, I think Diaz goes into good for me. Tijani Reinders. I rate Reinders highly. I think at the moment, you'd have to say he goes into good. You know, he could be top class as well. You know, I'm thinking of putting him in top class, but I'm basically putting him in good because, you know, coming from AC Milan, you would have probably thought he would have nailed down the position in midfield because they're light in that area. But he's obviously seen as an impact sub. And he has done decent when he's come onto the pitch. I think Pep's probably found a position for him now because you can see he's more attacking than he is defensive. But I think good at the moment, but he can be top class for me. I think next season he can go on to be top class. Rodri, again, no brainer, goes into. One second, what's happened there? Rodri goes into world class for me, no doubt. One of the best DMs in the world. I know he's suffered his injuries, but you cannot put Rodri not in a tier list, not put him in world class. You know, he's still that. Ryan Cherky. Now, Ryan Cherky for me is gonna go into top class. But again, Cherky's like Wirtz, he's like Cole Palmer, Jamal Musiala, Desiree Doué, and who's the other one? And Arda Güler. These guys are all young and they're going to be world-class players to me. So I've got no problem with that. The potential's there, but they're going to top class for now. Yeah, I hear it. Reinders in top class. Yep. Cherky in top class. I agree. Big up yourself as well. Don't worry, we're going to get onto Arsenal very soon, because I promise you this now, Jude Bellingham will not be lonely. I promise you. So he will not be all by himself. I promise. Let's move it on. Donnarumma, again, no surprises here. Donnarumma is going to go into world class. Just with Thibaut Courtois, you know, they are the outstanding goalkeepers for me. Where's he gone? Boy, this world class bracket's getting very full, man. It is. Right, guys, let's move it on. Yeah. So we got Man United and Arsenal to get through. Oh, and Atletico Madrid. Sorry. So Brian Mbeumo for me is going to go into decent. And the reason Mbeumo's in decent is because Mbeumo gets goals, but as a footballer, he ain't great. You know what I mean? So again, we're going to get through these quickly anyway. Matthias Cunha. Cunha's going to go into good for me because he's a maverick. Has still got a lot to show, but I think he's someone for me that, yeah, he does need to do a lot more. But again, I've always said this: as soon as Bruno Fernandes goes, I expect him to shine, no doubt. Harry Maguire, I'm gonna put into decent. You know, Maguire's got his strengths and weaknesses. Dominant in the air, you know, he's always available as well. No pace though, but I think it's only right to put him in decent. Matthias de Ligt. I'm putting de Ligt here. I know he's out injured, but de Ligt for me, I'm gonna put de Ligt in. Yeah, de Ligt's gonna go when I can find him. De Ligt's gonna go top class for me because I think we've got one of the best defenders in Europe when he's back available. Hopefully he returns back the same as well. Benjamin Sesko. I think Sesko can go into the good bracket. He's got his qualities, but nowhere top class or world class for me, and has provided some crucial goals. Bruno Fernandes, a guy that divides opinion. Bruno Fernandes is going to go into decent. I'm putting Bruno in decent, and the reason I put Bruno in decent is because, you know, Bruno does get you numbers, but I've watched Bruno ever since he come to the club, you know, and as an actual footballer, you know, he's a moments player, you know, but he has very bad moments more than he has good moments, you know. I think people look at him as being someone that gets a lot of numbers because he takes the free kicks and the corners, etc. But for me, I put him in decent. I don't think he's poor, you know, but I don't think he's anything better than decent for me. You know, you could probably say good, but I just think he's a decent player. You know what I mean? Let's move it on to Arsenal. So, Jurrien Timber. I actually think Timber's one of the best right backs in Europe. I'm going to put him into good. Again, guys, I'm going to just run through these, yeah? Martin Zubimendi, I'm putting him into good. Kai Havertz, I'm putting him into decent. Declan Rice, I'm putting him into decent. Gabriel Magalhaes, I'm going to put Gabriel Magalhaes into top class. David Raya, I'm going to put David Raya into good. Eberechi Eze is going into good. Victor Gyökeres might be worse than Jude Bellingham. He's going into poor. William Saliba, top class. Martin Odegaard. I'm going to put Odegaard into good. Bukayo Saka's going into good. Exedra's putting Gabriel into world class. Yeah, bro, listen, I hear it. I think the only reason I haven't put Gabriel into world class, just like Saliba, because until they get over the line and win the title or the Champions League, you can't be putting them into that bracket for me. You know, Declan Rice again, he could go into decent or good. In actual fact, I'm going to put Declan Rice into good. I think decent's probably a bit, yeah. I'll put Declan Rice into good, but he's nothing more than good. Let's be honest, yeah. Who else they got? Kai Havertz is in decent. Gyökeres is in poor. Odegaard and Eze are in good. Zubimendi's in good. I'm happy with that, yeah. Atletico Madrid. Julian Alvarez. I'm putting him into top class. Anton Griezmann. Griezmann would have been world class, yeah, but Griezmann has dropped off, but he's still top class for me. Jan Oblak. You know what? Oblak can go into world class. I think he's still world class to me. I was thinking of putting him in top class, but I think Oblak can go into world class. I don't think I can get him in there, actually. I can't even see the screen. Bear me 1 minute, guys. Okay, yeah, got him. So, yeah, Oblak for me will go into world class. Alexander Sorloth. Again, guys, Alexander Sorloth, yeah? Let's see if anyone knows, yeah? What club did Alexander Sorloth play before? Who's Alexander Sorloth at in the Premier League? Let's see if anyone knows in the chat. Who did Alexander Sorloth play for in the Premier League? And let's not Google it either. See if anyone remembers. No, in the Premier League. So what Premier League club did Alexander Sorloth play for? Yeah, Crystal Palace. I don't think there's many people that actually would know that. He was at Crystal Palace. Funny enough, yeah. Yeah, Palace. So yeah, Sorloth for me, he's going to go into, I mean, decent or good. I'll put him in decent. Again, we're not doing the major, so we're not going to do Inter Milan, Tottenham, AC Milan, Dortmund, Newcastle, Aston Villa. We're not going to do them. But we are going to do some individual players. So, Kenan Yildiz. For me, Yildiz goes into top class. Because I think, again, potentially, he's going to be right up there. Let me just put his name in there and move him up. So Yildiz for me is definitely going to go into top class. Again, potentially can be world class because he's a very good player. Nico Williams, guys. I'm going to put Nico Williams into decent. I think Williams has just got pace. He's got pace. And that's about it, really. I don't really see Nico Williams as no sort of world beater. I'll have to be honest. He goes into yeah, bro, don't worry. We're gonna go through the list, yeah, on who to move down. Don't worry, because I've only got a couple of players to go to discuss anyway. We've got we've got two more players to go through. Yeah, Mason Greenwood. Now, Mason Greenwood for me, yeah, I'm gonna put Greenwood into top class, But I believe his next move is going to be, I mean, I love it to be back to Man United, but I don't think it's going to happen. But Mason Greenwood's next move is going to be either Barcelona, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, PSG. I expect him to end up at one of them 4 clubs. And then once he does, he'll go straight into world class. So he's in the mold with the likes of Florian Wirtz, Kenan Yildiz, Cole Palmer, Arda Güler, Jamal Musiala, and Ryan Cherky and Desiree Doué, like potentially world-class players. And then the last player we're going to discuss, I was thinking Paulo Dybala, one of my favorite players. Sandro Tonali, guys. Sandro Tonali. Now, Tonali, for me, I'm going to put Tonali in top class, but Tonali, again, for me, can be in world class as well. So, yeah, guys, listen, that is the list all done. As I said, it was the top teams, the top teams around Europe, and then obviously a couple of individual players as well. So let me just run through it now. I'm going to put it on my screen just so you guys can see. Spare me 1 minute. How can we put this on there? Wait. Right. Let me just put the layout a bit bigger. So, guys, just going through it quickly now, just so you guys can see the screen. So, we are going to discuss, because world class do have a few in there to see if we should move anyone down. So, the world class players we've got, actually, better yet, let's start from the bottom. So, 2 poor players. So, we have Victor Gyökeres and Jude Bellingham. Decent, we have Nico Williams, Alexander Sorloth, Kai Havertz, Bruno Fernandes, Harry Maguire, Brian Mbeumo, Jeremy Doku, Jonathan Tah, Mo Salah, Marcus Rashford, Jules Koundé, and Trent Alexander-Arnold. In the good bracket, we've got Declan Rice, Bukayo Saka, Martin Odegaard, Eberechi Eze, Benjamin Sesko, David Raya, Martin Zubimendi, Matthias Cunha, Tijani Reinders, Ruben Diaz, Phil Foden, Enzo Fernandez, William Esteval, Luis Diaz, Alexander Isak, Alexis McAllister, Dominic Szoboszlai, Juan Garcia, Pau Kabasi, Alejandro Balde, Eder Militao, Dean Howson, João Mendes. And then we move on to top class players. We've got Sandro Tonali, Mason Greenwood, Kenan Yildiz, Antoine Griezmann, Julian Alvarez, William Saliba, Gabriel Magalhaes, Jurrien Timber, Ryan Cherky, Matthias de Ligt, Omar Marmoush, Erling Haaland, Cole Palmer, Mark Cucurella, João Pedro, Joshua Kimmich, Jamal Musiala, Alisson, Hugo Ekitike, Virgil van Dijk, Florian Wirtz, Ryan Gravenberch, Robert Lewandowski, Rafinha, Arda Güler, Federico Valverde, Aurelien Tchouameni, Fabian Ruiz, Marquinhos, and Desiree Doué. And in the world-class bracket, we've got Jan Oblak, Rodri, Josko Gvardiol, Gianluigi Donnarumma, Reece James, Moises Caicedo, Harry Kane, Michael Olise, Frankie de Jong, Pedri, Thibaut Courtois, Lamine Yamal, Rodrigo, Kylian Mbappe, Vinicius Jr., William Pacho, Kavicha Kvaratskhelia, Nuno Mendes, Achraf Hakimi, Ousmane Dembele, and Vitinha. So that's our full list. Let's go through the chat. Guys, is there anyone from any tier that you think should be moved up or down? Is there anyone from the world class category that you think? Before we wrap it up, let me know. Even VVD's ranking is wild. That's a bit harsh, Fitz, man. Let's be honest, a bit harsh, man. I think VVD does deserve to be in top class, man. He does. Come on. Can't believe you let me down with Bruno and Saka like that. Yeah, I mean, listen. I'm not, you know, yeah. You know, I'm not the biggest fans of Bruno and Saka, but when I'm looking at the decent list, yeah, this is how I'm comparing it. Bruno's in decent, Saka's in good. I won't say they're poor, like, because Bruno and Saka, they do have at least something to their game. For me, Jude Bellingham and Victor Gyökeres, I don't see any benefit to them, to their game. That's why they're in poor. So yep, Kovacic is in world class, 100%. I think there should be a category between good and top class. Give me an example, bro. What do you mean? Give me a player who's good and who's top class, and we'll see the gap. Oh, okay, like a one for the future. Who do I support? Manchester United, and I like Barcelona as well. Big up. Guys, who do you think should be moving down from world class? Who should be moving down from world class? Let me scroll it up just so you guys can see. So who should be moving down from world class in the tier list? Yeah, big up, man. Big up. Guys, make sure we're smashing the likes as well. Make sure we're subbing to the channel if you're new in it. So yeah, who should be moving up or down from the tier list or from world class? Guys, let me know who should be moving down from the world class tier that you think. Oblak, Vinny, Mbappe, yeah? What? So moving them down to top class? I hear it. I do hear it. Anyone else agree with that? That we should be moving them down to top class? What do you think? Oblak's dropped off a bit, yeah? All right, let's move Oblak down to top class then. I'm happy with that. Even though I do think Oblak is good. So we have got so guys, we've got 20 players that are world class. Is that fair? What, move Haaland down, yeah? So what, move Haaland down to good? Rest is perfect. Yeah, Fitz, I hear it, man. I do hear it because Haaland's all-round game ain't great. To be fair, it has got better, but that's literally because I think a lot of people would say that Haaland would go in world class. And I think for me, he'd probably go in top class because of his goals. But guys, bear me 1 minute, yeah? 1 minute. So, guys, what we saying then? Are we saying that we're gonna move Haaland down? Yeah, we're moving Haaland down to good. Before we wrap it up, guys, what are we doing? We're moving Haaland down. Yeah. Gab, are you still doing that next gen 50 series, or is it done? I mean, to be fair, I've started doing the greats of the game, but if there's any players that you guys would like to see me discuss, then yeah, put it in the chat, man, and I'll get that down. Maybe De Jong, yeah? Okay. Do you know what? Yeah, De Jong probably in top class is probably fair as well. So let's move De Jong down to top class. So we've got 19 players that are world class. Do you rate Samu Agahawa? Omarodian. Omarodian's just a physical threat, man, to be honest with you. He's a target man striker. I actually do think he's going to leave Porto, though, this season. I don't rate him like that, but I think in the Premier League, he could actually be good in the Premier League. He could actually be good. So, guys, just to recap, yeah. Big up Verbic says Rafinha. Yeah, Rafinha is in top class for me. Guys, just to recap before we wrap it up, yeah, just going to run through the players again, just to make sure we've got everyone in the right tier, yeah, to make sure that you guys are happy with this as well. So the world-class tier, we've got Vitinha, Dembele, Hakimi, Nuno Mendes, Kvaratskhelia, William Pacho, Vinny Jr., Mbappe, Rodrigo, Yamal, Courtois, Pedri, Elise, Harry Kane, Caicedo, Reece James, Donnarumma, Gvardiol, Rodri. Are we happy with that, yeah? Nah, listen, Verbic, man. Rafinha's not world class, man. He's not world class. He got numbers, but numbers don't make you world class. He's not world class. Guys, that world class list, man. I know Verbic's not happy, man, but he's just coming to the chat now. But Exagger, that's cool, bro. Yeah. Okay. Let's move on to. Yeah, cool, man. Let's move on to top class. Make sure we're all happy with this. So we've got Desiree Doué, Marquinhos, Fabian Ruiz, Frankie de Jong, Aurelian Chouameni, Federico Valverde, Arda Güler, Rafinha, Robert Lewandowski, Ryan Gravenberch, Florian Wirtz, Virgil van Dijk, Hugo Ekitike, Alisson, Jamal Musiala, Joshua Kimmich, João Pedro, Mark Cucurella, Cole Palmer, Erling Haaland, Omar Marmoush, Matthias de Ligt, Ryan Cherky, Urian Timber, Gabriel Saliba, Julian Alvarez, Anton Griezmann, Kenan Yildiz, Mason Greenwood, Sandro Tonali, Jan Oblak. Are we all happy with that one, yeah? With the top class category. Now, Mark Guay, he's not in there. I'm only working up the list that I've got here. Have a look at it. Have a look at it, man. You can see. Vinny's in there, yeah, world class. Guys, let me know if that top class list is fine and we'll move it on. Guys, give me a thumbs up if that top class list is fine, just so we can move it on. Nah, Gavardio's in world class. He's in world class. 100% Gavardio's in world class. So let me get this straight. It's based on current form. It's not based on current form. It's based on ability. It's based on ability, and you can probably say what they've done as well. But more, I would say more ability, or what they're doing now. I would say. Yeah, listen, Truman is a good player. He gets a lot of criticism. I don't really know why, but he's a good player for me, man. 100%. Right, let's move it on anyway. We're gonna go on to good. So good, we've got João Neves, Dean Howson, Eder Militao, Alejandro Balde, Pau Kabasi, Juan Garcia, Dominic Szoboszlai, Alexis McAllister, Alexander Isak, Luis Diaz, William Esteval, Enzo Fernandez, Phil Foden, Ruben Diaz, Tijani Reinders, Matthias Cunha, Martin Zubimendi, David Raya, Benjamin Sesko, Eberechi Eze, Odegaard, Saka, Declan Rice. Are we all good with that one? Yeah, big up Verbic, bro. Nah, it's about quality, man. It's quality over what they're doing right now as well. So Reece James is the best right back in the world with Hakimi, so he has to be in world class. Lewandowski's a top player, but he has dropped off. And Gavardio's world class, man. VVD's struggling at the moment. That's why he's in top class. Isak could have been top class, but because of this season, he isn't. Yeah, I think Isak can probably get to top class, but I've never really rated Isak like that. You know, Isak, when he was younger, was touted as being a top striker, but yeah, he can be in good, but he can be top class next season. So I agree with Rice in good. Like people say, yeah, Declan Rice is nowhere near the top 3 midfielders in the world. It's crazy to be even saying that. But yeah, Declan Rice is in good. Okay, let's move it on. Decent. So we've got Trent Alexander-Arnold, Jules Koundé, Rashford, Salah, Jonathan Tah, Jeremy Doku, Mbeumo, Harry Maguire, Bruno Fernandes, Kai Havertz, Alexander Sorloth, and Nico Williams. Are we all happy with that one, guys? We all happy with that? Exactly. You think Odegaard should be indecent, yeah? You know what? I think Odegaard, as a footballer, is a good footballer, but he does flatter to deceive. What I would say though, yeah, I think to be fair, Odegaard should probably go into decent if Bruno's in there as well, because you know Odegaard's a better footballer than Bruno. Bruno gets better numbers, and if Bruno's in decent, I'm happy to put Odegaard in there as well. So that's not a problem. That's not a problem. To be honest, your opinion, I agree with that. With this list, Rafa was injured and Robert has fallen off, but they're still good. Yeah, listen, that's why I've got them both in top class. That's what I'm saying. They both can't be world class for me. They're both in top class. And again, top class doesn't mean that you're not good. It just means you're not at the absolute elite as the other players. Yeah, I mean, Nico Williams could. I mean, I put Nico Williams in decent because even though I don't think he's great, he does have some sort of qualities. The two players that are in poor, which you're going to see right now, which is Jude Bellingham and Victor Gyökeres. I'm happy with them being in poor because I generally don't think they offer anything. So I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. You should make one for like 2010 players. Listen, big up to Craven Cottage. You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna try and see if they've got a list of that. I'm gonna actually check that out after I finish the stream. But in actual fact, let me check it now. Yeah, as I'm on stream now. Because if there's one, then I'll definitely do this again. Let's have a check. There is. Okay. Yeah, there is. Right, guys, listen up. We're gonna do another tier list. We're gonna do it. What's tomorrow? Thursday. Probably do a tier list on Friday, guys. If anything, in the evening. If not Friday, then we'll try and do one for the weekend, or we'll definitely try and sort one out. So yeah, we'll do a 2010 tier list. Big up to Craven Cottage, man. Yeah, we'll do a 2010 tier list, no doubt. Please show us poor. So poor is here, man. No worries. There's your poor. Jude Bellingham and Victor Gyökeres. Gyökeres is actually scoring while Nico has barely 5 GA. But again, at least Nico Williams has pace. You know, he can threaten a fullback. Jude Bellingham and Gyökeres, I don't know what they give us, man, personally. So, guys, is everyone happy with Gyökeres and Jude Bellingham in the poor category? Or do you think Nico Williams should be in there as well? Or anyone else? Before we wrap it up. There you go. Sorloth has more goals than Gyökeres as well, as being technically better. Yeah. There we go. So what, you fancy putting Nico Williams in poor, yeah? Is everyone agreeing with that? Putting Nico Williams in poor? Or should we leave him in decent? Let's have a vote. I'm happy to leave him in decent, but if you guys want him in poor and the majority want to vote to that, then cool. Guys, let me know. Nico in poor, yeah? Okay, cool. Okay, so we got Jude Bellingham, Victor Gyökeres, and Nico Williams as poor. Is everyone happy with that, yeah? Cool. Nico should be below. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we've done that. I'm happy with that, guys. I'm happy with that. So, guys, are we all happy with that tier list, yeah? I'm not, but it's okay. Big up to Verbic, man. Listen, I know you was expecting to see some of your players a bit higher, man, but we have to be honest, man. We have to be honest and keep it real, man. Like, you haven't got one player that makes world class, not one. You got Gabriel, Saliba, and Timber. You know, they're three players, as I said, and I've always said this. They're on the cusp of getting into world class, but they've got to get over the line. So that's what I would say about that. And you guys have got a tough game tonight against Leverkusen. So let's see what you guys can do on the world stage, or the European stage, should I say? You know. But guys, listen, we are going to wrap it up. We are going to be live tomorrow, guys, at 8 p.m. for our weekly schedule of you know, the all-time 11s. Obviously, tomorrow it's going to be Man City all-time 11. So obviously when the takeover started, so we're going to do it from that period. And guys, listen, if there's any Man City fans, or if there's anyone that wants to jump on the stream tomorrow, then just let me know. We've got myself, Fitz, and we've got Jonas on tomorrow. So if there's anyone else that wants to jump on, let me know as soon as possible, and then obviously we can organize the stream. As I said, just let me know in the comments after, or if you can, let me know on here, and I can send you over the link. But yeah, we are going to be back tomorrow in the evening at possibly 8 p.m. to do our weekly one. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. And as I said, we will definitely be doing a 2010 bracket as well, which again is going to be interesting because there's some top players, man. And I like things like this, the tier list, because you know, I like to put players in order to so I can see who's who, kind of thing. But we will definitely do that. And as I say, keep an eye on the schedule, and we can definitely sort that out. And yeah, as I said, make sure you smash the like button on your way out. Make sure you sub to the channel. Make sure you share the channel on all your platforms as well, guys. Would be much appreciated. And as Verbic says, that's going to be a banger stream. It will be. But as I said, we are going to be back tomorrow at 8 p.m. And as I said, if you do want to jump on, let me know. If not, then yeah, hopefully catch you guys tomorrow at 8 p.m. And as I said, keep an eye on the schedules, on my notifications to see when I'm going live. But other than that, big up to yourselves for coming through each and every time. Make sure you smash the likes. Make sure you sub to the channel. And I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Take it easy.